Welcome to Beyond Ocean and Maine, MCM's news magazine program. I'm Robert Goitis.
And I'm Shayla Tran.
In recognition of the 250th anniversary of the American Revolution, dozens of organizations across the Commonwealth of Massachusetts have come together to form the organization Revolution 250.
Representatives of the organization sat down with us to discuss their mission and how they have presented the history of the American Revolution to the public.
Revolution 250 is a consortium of organizations that came together beginning in 2015 and have been working on the 250th anniversary of the American Revolution here in Massachusetts. And realizing that the effort to commemorate the 250th anniversary was going to take many hands, they came together in support of each other. Well, the overall mission of Revolution 250 is threefold. We have one mission, which is, of course, to help organizations and communities build memorable commemorations of these events that are paramount in the telling of the story of America and how America gained her independence. Education, of course, is a large portion of that. We're looking at ways to bring new stories, new avenues of exploration in the narrative of the American Revolution to school. And then last but not least is preservation. And it's not just about the preservation of structures and material culture. In my mind, one of the key opportunities in this 250th is to preserve the historical documents that exist in every town across Massachusetts.
Well, it's interesting. I started as a young boy during the bicentennial, and I went to many different events. And what I found is that I looked and I saw they were having a great time, and it was a lot of fun. So ultimately, I joined a British group because there seemed to be hundreds and hundreds of people portraying American soldiers, but very few portraying British ones. So I took a look and I said, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do that. Now I portray both. Marshfield was a big part. A lot of people don't know that, but there was a garrison of just over 100 British soldiers. And together with the loyalists from the town, which there were many, they were right here at this location, which was the Nathaniel Ray Thomas estate.
We both produce materials to encourage communities to discover their own history. There are some stories that people just don't talk about very much here in Marshfield, for instance, the idea of the Redcoats being here on April 19th. And you go and you talk to people all over the state, all over the nation, and they say, oh, my ancestor marched on Lexington and conquered. And it's probably true. Their ancestor probably did turn out on what was called the Lexington Alarm. But if your ancestor lived in Plymouth or Barnstable counties in those days, they did not go to Lexington or Concord. They came here to Marshfield because there were British soldiers here. So sometimes it's helping communities discover hidden bits of their history or history that may not be as familiar to them. It's also about building partnerships, bringing together groups that may not traditionally work together in ways that is meaningful for the community, and hopefully will set the stage for future commemorations. Well, now they're sometimes asking me, when is this going to be over? You know, there's a certain amount of commemoration fatigue that happens to people who live in this world day in and day out. But we, in Massachusetts terms, we are nearing the end of our major role in the commemoration. And I don't want to say near the end of our role because, of course, Massachusetts put more soldiers in the field during the Revolution than any other state or province. Our role in commemorating Massachusetts in the history of the American Revolution is all about celebrating the role of the people of Massachusetts, not just the ones who marched off to war, but the ones who stayed at home and maintained the business, and all while dealing with the loss and uncertainty of having loved ones in harm's way.
I think it's a better presentation to the public. There's much more, not just research, but the presentation that we do gives the public a better understanding about what happened historically back in the 18th century. And I think that's incredible. Well, so far, the Tea Party has been the largest event that I've participated in. I was on the decks of one of the ships, and I was breaking open the crates and tossing the tea into Boston Harbor. We had a big build up to that. We had to practice it. We had to work with the staff at the Boston Tea Party Ships and Museum, as well as other partners as well.
You know, this year is, of course, a hallmark year. There's so many major events that happen this year between the 250th anniversary of Leslie's Retreat, which happened in Salem in February. We've got Lexington conquered, the Battle of Menotomy. And so this year in particular, we've got Bunker Hill, we've got the commemorations in Charlestown and the reenactment of the battle up in Gloucester. There's so many ways to tell this story. So 2025 is a really important year.
I think people who participate in it, they get deep into the research. They want to know more. One thing leads to another, and as they go down that rabbit hole, as we say, they find out things that they never understood about the American Revolution. We want to tell those stories that normally are not told. How did the women, what were their roles? What did they do? How did they support the army? The roles of indigenous people, African Americans. It's very difficult to know all about them unless you get into it and you start studying it. Largely, most people are very positive. They very much enjoy it and they appreciate what we do. I mean, getting dressed in all of this that you see me in, it takes a fair amount of time, but it also takes money and energy to put all the equipment together so that you're actually have a credible presentation.
Well, I'd like to say that it brought to them a greater passion for the work or hobby or interest that they pursue. For the general public, I hope it gives them an understanding that there's more to discover, even though, you know, we may think we know the stories of George Washington and Thomas Jefferson, and there's always more to learn because, as I said, this is a human story. Human stories are complex. And for school children, I hope they grow up with the idea that it's not just about people, it's also about ideas and ideals. That's what we're commemorating. That's what we're celebrating, is the fact that we live in a free country that is guided by reason, guided by law, and we owe a debt to the people from 250 years ago who sacrificed everything for a cause they didn't know was going to be successful. That's the thing that blows my mind more than anything else. And that's what we should celebrate.
The Marshfield High School Stars and Stripes Club was recently created to provide students with an opportunity to give back to the veterans who reside within Marshfield.
Co-founders of the club discuss with us what they have done for the veterans and their plans for the future.
So the Stars and Stripes Club is a community service group, Marshfield High School, founded by myself and Timmy Stiles. We did this to be able to give back to the veteran community in Marshfield and give students a way to be able to get involved with the community and be able to give back to the veterans who have already given so much. Our mission for the Stars and Stripes Club is really to deliver community service projects back to the veterans in Marshfield. And I guess our second mission, you could say, is to be able to deliver something for the students to do and for the students to contribute to the veterans in Marshfield, as well as be able to get any community service hours for what they may need. But our primary goal is to be able to help the veterans in our community.
Yeah, me and Ryan both had interest in the military last year, and we were in the same history class, and we talked about starting a club that would give back to the veterans, and that's really where it all started. We've done many odd jobs like fall cleanups. We're going to start doing dinners soon at the VFW for the veterans, and we also just had our event last month that had multiple Vietnam veterans come and speak about their experiences.
So my grandfather was in Vietnam, and obviously in the school books specifically, there's really not that much information, and we really don't learn that much about Vietnam. So I felt very passionate to set something up, especially with my grandfather being in the Marine Corps during Vietnam. And he passed away when I was younger, so I wasn't really able to hear much from him. And I know a lot of different people, their grandparents don't really talk about it that much. So I think that we were able to have a few different speakers come, share their experiences, and it was helpful for them to be able to speak on their account and talk to a large audience and share what they thought. And it was just as important for everybody else to learn and get educated about it, because like I said, we really don't learn that much about it in school. We also participate in the parades. We're also looking to raise some money in the future and then donate that. During Halloween, we try to raise candy and then we donate that to veterans as well. It's very positive. I mean, from the people that have been watching us do this, we've got nothing but happiness from everybody. And then on top of it, all the veterans are very appreciative of what we've been able to do for them. And for us, it's very fulfilling to be able to help people and give back.
Yeah, the feedback we've received is always positive. It's just mostly people in Marshfield that just thank us for what we do, and we always appreciate that. I think it feels great for everyone in our club because we know that we're doing something good, and we can appreciate that very well.
It's not only good just to get, the community service hours done that you're required to graduate for high school. It's also a way to get out there, meet new people, and be able to help those who have helped us. People in the military have given the ultimate sacrifice, so I think it's the least we can do is go out, help them clean up their lawn, prepare food for them, stuff like that. I'm looking forward to give back to the veterans in Marshfield, shake their hand, greet them with a smile, clean up their lawn, do everything we can for them. Because like I said, they've given the ultimate sacrifice, and I think it's the least we can do to help them clean up their lawn, especially if they're disabled, and to do anything we possibly can to help them and make their lives just a little bit easier if they're struggling.
I'm looking forward to the spring cleanups we're going to start to get back into really doing work for these veterans that need help, because a lot of them can't do these things anymore. And the dinners will be a great way for us to have connections with the veterans as well. I think the students in our club feel very good about what they're doing, and it's always a great experience for them helping the veterans.
I think everybody there feels fulfilled. Everybody's excited to go out and help. We wake up early on the weekends. When we were doing fall cleanups, everybody was excited to go out at 8 in the morning to go clean up somebody's lawn. I mean, I don't think many people would want to get up, but I think because of the mission that we're bringing and the work that we're doing, I think a lot of these people are motivated. So that's what I'm really excited to bring to the students, so they can feel involved and be able to help contribute to what we're doing.
I feel that they're always appreciative of it, and that the kids in our club have like an actual connection with these people that we help, and we have conversations with them at the cleanups, and it's just a great thing for the students in our club. What I'm most proud of is probably the event we had last month. Many of the veterans got very emotional and into their stories, and they always appreciate what we do and that the youth is involved in helping these veterans. And yeah, I think that's what I'm most proud of. It's just the club in general and what we have done for these veterans. And obviously we can't do enough to thank them for what they have done for us, but of course we do our best.
I don't really expect it to do too much. By that, I don't expect it to, change their entire life. I just want to be able to help them a little bit more and give back, show that the youth is involved. Because I think the number one thing that kids don't do is get involved with other generations. So I think if we're able to connect with them and, like I said, make their life a little bit easier, then that's what I'm looking to do. So I think in general, it's not just students who should get involved. I think everybody in the U.S. should be getting involved with our veterans. I think it's a very overlooked thing, and I feel like especially Veterans Affairs, retirees, and even active people, there's a lot of things that people in the military don't speak about. So I think people should go out into their community, get to meet these people and hear their stories, because enough people don't understand what they've been through, as well as all the stuff that they could be doing to help them.
Buddy and Friends Animal Rescue was created to rescue and rehouse dogs that would not have a chance otherwise.
The team at Buddy and Friends talked about their recent large influx of dogs and the different programs that they offer.
Buddy and Friends Animal Rescue is a rescue that was founded in 2020, and we import dogs from Tennessee and the Carolinas, and we also take many owner surrenders. Year to date, we've adopted out over 1,000 dogs. The mission is to save as many dogs as we can. We take a lot of behavioral cases, and behavioral cases that most rescues wouldn't even take a second look at. We really specialize with dogs that have fear aggression, and those dogs really, they need time, they need training. Time is the biggest thing that they need, and our goal is to give them the second chance that they wouldn't get elsewhere. I founded Buddy and Friends in 2020. I've been in the rescue industry, shelter industry for over 20 years. I had seen a lot of things about a lot of rescues that I didn't agree with, and I wanted to essentially do something different and make us different than all of the rest, in which I have thankfully been very successful in doing. So you can foster, which is where you take the dog into your home temporarily. Then we also have the option to just do a straight adopt, where you come in, you meet a dog, and you can take the dog home. We do a lot of pre-approvals. We hold a lot of events. So that gives people the opportunity get a pre-approved application, you come out, and instead of meeting 1 or 2 dogs that are coming out of a foster home, you go to an event and you meet several dogs. From those dogs, you can take a dog that day on the spot home. Then we also have something called the Foster to Adopt program. That program allows people to have 7 days of learning about the dog, them getting to know each other. The dog is able to decompress in their home, and it's really longer than just a meet and greet. So it gives them that extra time that they might need, whether it be, usually it's for puppies. All of our dogs that we take in are temperament tested, and people who know us and people who have followed us for a while know that our dogs are temperament tested. There's so many dogs down south that need help. There's so many of us rescues up here that are doing everything that we can to try to pull those dogs. If we don't pull those dogs, the unfortunate situation is that that dog will pass away. We try to do everything humanly possible to try to avoid that. We pull in as many dogs as we can. If we know that we have 10 fosters that are opening up within the week, we'll commit to 10 to 15 dogs to be able to import them, to save them, to make room down south so they can do their job and they can go out to the street and save those dogs.
We get a lot of good feedback from the community. We really reach out. We do a lot of social media presence. We do a lot of fundraising, and we also do a lot of adoptable events. And that really draws in a lot of that volunteer and foster curation too here. And one of the biggest things that we get feedback on is that this place is a place for healing. And that doesn't just mean the dogs, it also means for people as well. They come here to give back. They know that these animals have really been through a lot, and they want to be a part of that change. And that just really goes from anything from our volunteers who come and walk the dogs, our people who donate amazing things from our wish list, or our cash donations, our fosters who come in and they open their home to multiple dogs to ensure that they get a great life. And that really has brought the community together. People come here and they make friendships, they find their forever best friend, they find a new sense of purpose when they're going through something. So that's probably the biggest feedback that we've heard. And to know that people are coming here and finding a safe space is truly incredible. And to know that we are helping make a difference, as many as the community is making a difference for us, the way that we are allowing people to come in and join each other and find a sense of purpose and build on that and heal their hearts and watch a dog transform and know that they had a part in that, that feels really, really good. I would say the most fulfilling part of operating the shelter is watching the people and the dogs transform together. We have people who come through here and they are heartbroken, or they're healing from something else, or they're going through something, and they're looking for a safe space to come and find another purpose. What I feel that Buddy and Friends has brought to the community is really just a lot of insight and knowledge about rescuing dogs and what it means to rescue a dog, but it even goes further than that. We actually do fundraisers and adoptable events where we actually get to meet the community, we get to meet other businesses in the community who are trying to strive for a goal of making things better, but we also reach out in other meaningful ways. We always look for donations, we look for fosters, we look for volunteers, but we also look for ways that we can make an impact. One of those is Tiffany actually connected with Mass Vesta Dog, and we've actually been able to give money back and supplies back to them. And Mass Vesta Dog is for the vests for the dogs for the police department. So that's a really big deal. We're protecting, those who protect us, and that's huge. The other thing too is that the volunteers in our community that come here, they don't just walk dogs. We just had, about 3 or 4 weeks ago, we just had a really big trash cleanup in the area. We saw a need for it. There was litter everywhere. It was not a safe walking environment for our dogs, especially with this nice weather. And we were able to get 30 volunteers from the community to show up on a rainy, cold Sunday, and we picked up 27 bags of trash. So that just shows the impact that people care for us and they can see that we care for the communities.
The biggest need that we have, a lot of people do ask this, is we need fosters. We can't save dogs without fosters. And as much as there are people, who are concerned about the foster process, we're here for every step of the way. We provide a foster with everything that they could need or want. With the influx of dogs that we've had, we also have an insane amount of vet bills, which has really crushed us over the past few months. And We can't rescue dogs without the community's help.
Whether you come here to adopt, you're here to foster, you're here to volunteer, or just donations, it makes a world of difference. But when people support us so heavily, we get to go and then support the community back. I really just think it's special. And the other big thing too that we started and we're getting great feedback on as well is just a little bit of the business side of things. We do have a corporate sponsorship and we have built it so you could be an individual business owner all the way to a corporation. We want people to get involved and feel as though they can get involved in a bigger way while also helping their brand recognition or their company grow. To receive such powerful feedback, it really means the world to all of us here at Buddy and Friends. It's kind of emotional in the best way I can describe it. Tiffany started the shelter to help animals and she had such a drive to do so, and it's not easy. So again, to hear the feedback that people really are feeling the same that I am and the way that we all have when we come through Buddy and Friends, it's just emotional.
In response to a tragedy involving the death of a young Scituate resident named Gregory Shea, the 143 Gregory Foundation was created.
Those who founded the organization talked about their mission and what they provide to the community.
The 143 Gregory Foundation was created in memory of my loving son, Gregory Mark Shea II. Gregory passed away in February of 2021 from an unintentional fentanyl poisoning.
So we lost our son Gregory 4 years ago to fentanyl poisoning. He was just 21 years old. He was our youngest son. So after we came through the fog of mourning and grief and despair, we tried to come up with something that we thought would continue his name to live on and do something positive to help the community and others who are suffering from the fentanyl crisis and opioid crisis that's out there.
The mission is education, really educating people on the importance of knowing how prevalent this issue is with fentanyl and just ending the stigma, letting people know that it's okay to be open about things like this and it's okay to ask for help.
So the mission has kind of evolved as well. We started out as support and education around fentanyl and opioid substance use and abuse. So we've kind of evolved from there to focusing on helping families after the fact that have lost loved ones to fentanyl poisoning and substance use, to try to reach out to them, because we know how we felt when we lost Gregory. We were just so lost and didn't know what to do, where to turn, how to try to get help, how to try to move forward. And we try to come in at that point to help these families, provide them with resources.
What we've done to support the community is provide services, resources to those who are going through substance use disorder, have a family or a loved one that are struggling with substance use disorder or mental health crises. And we've been able to provide them with the resources they need. I don't want to forget grief counseling as well. We also provide resources for grief counseling. There's a lot of grief counselors out there, or grief groups, that are absolutely wonderful. And we want people to know that that information is out there, available to them.
That's why we wanted to do the scholarship, the resiliency scholarship, for those kids that may have parents going through that, or even themselves.
So we most recently, on April 12th, we had Gregory's Run for Hope. It was a 5K run walk that we did here in Scituate, where our foundation is based out of Scituate. It's a fundraiser. We didn't know how it was going to go. It was our first attempt, and we were just amazed. We had 244 registered runners, walkers. The weather was terrible that day, so not everybody showed up, but we still had well over 100 people showed up. In addition to that, we had sponsors that contributed to support the event. It was a great community outpouring of support. The people that were there, despite the weather, were very happy to be there. They were happy to be part of such a great cause that we're working to support. They were just thrilled to be there, and the feeling of community was very strong in support, and we were overwhelmed with the turnout and the reaction to the people that were there.
The feedback we received from the community has been overwhelmingly positive. Through all of our social media, through different networking events, through our own events, people have just been extremely positive. We've had more support than we ever could have asked for, especially at this run. There was well over almost 250 people signed up for it. We had many sponsors. We had people on site that day helping out and participating. It's been really, really positive. One of our upcoming events is a golf tournament. It's called Gregory's Drive for Hope. It's on August 18th, which is a Monday, and it's right here in Situate, Mass. We also have an upcoming event on August 21st, and it is for National Fentanyl Awareness Day. And it's going to be held in Times Square, New York. And Gregory's face will be up on the teletroms, and there's a few different types of events. There'll be a vigil, there'll be an opportunity for us to meet with other family members, share our stories, talk to some reporters, and really get our message out there. So we're really looking forward to that.
I think the most fulfilling part has been being able to help those kids, give the scholarships out to those kids that really were struggling and really doing their hardest to succeed.
I think that the foundation has brought to the community a shining light. I feel like people know that there's a problem, and a lot of people don't want to talk about it. And we are trying to shine that light on the issue so that people are willing to talk about it, and hopefully through that we'll be able to stop other people from suffering the wrong ending to that situation.
If Gregory knew that we had a foundation in his name, I think he'd be very proud. I think he'd be humbled. I think he would be encouraging us, to do more and to stay strong, continue to go out there and do what we're doing.
I don't think Gregory would believe it. I don't think he would have expected the amount of support and the amount of love that's come through.
I think Greg would be humbled. I think he would have one of those grins that he does when he doesn't want people to know that he's happy, but he's happy.
It feels wonderful. It feels awesome. I feel like that we're doing something good in Gregory's name, and it also helps us learn a little bit more about Gregory, because a lot of people will share stories with us, and it's overwhelming. It's really nice.
This concludes this edition of Beyond Ocean and Maine. Tune in next time. I'm Robert Goitis.
And I'm Sheila Tran.
Thank you very much for watching.